I'm thinking about work when I'm going to bed. I'm thinking about work when I'm working out.
Sometimes I can work 12 hours in a day, even longer than that.
I would say for me, I always knew I wanted to create something that's going to be a legacy so people will remember it even if I die.
I guess era. We're going into a new way of doing things with technology altogether, with software development. It's gonna change the way it looks. So,
And I think because it was really hard, which made me again want to learn a bit more. So there's a problem, I can't really solve it, but that means I need to study a bit more.
it seems like an industry that's quite scary for a lot of us, even people who are in tech. I've figured out the fastest way of making food. Hi guys, and welcome back to another discussion. This week, I'm joined by a CEO and founder of an AI business. I know, guys, it's the biggest thing right now. AI. I think everybody in tech is talking about AI. So I'm really, really excited about this conversation because I want to know more about AI, and I know you do too. So, Ellie, could you tell us a bit about yourself? Who is Ellie?
I would say I'm more of a workaholic, so I don't have a life outside of work, which is a bit, I mean, it's early stage, it makes sense, because we're trying to make this a huge thing. So I would say I'm a workaholic. I'm thinking about work when I'm going to bed. I'm thinking about work when I'm working out, and every second of my time I'm dedicating to what can I do next, what should I be doing next? So I'm not sure. I think a lot of founders and a lot of techie people, even you can relate to me because when you
Yeah.
love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It feels
Yeah.
just like something you do for fun.
Yeah, I literally can relate to that because it's so hard to like separate the business that you're so integrated in and like the career that you're trying to build, that kind of thing. So for me, I can fully relate to that. Sometimes I can work 12 hours in a day, even longer than that, because my sleeping hours are a lot less. Probably sleep 6 hours, and then as soon as I open my eyes, I'll probably just grab some water straight into my office. And before you know it, I'm like, oh, it's lunchtime. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, it's dinner time. And then you eat, and then you go back into the office.
You're good than me because I am worse. I don't even have time. Like when I'm working in a deep work, I'm like, okay, I forgot to eat, I need to go back. I feel like, I mean, one of the good things about working and loving something you do is because time goes really quick and you don't really realize, but you're actually doing a lot of work. You're not really thinking about procrastination because you don't have that time to procrastinate, which is good. But at the same time, I'm neglecting my food, which is not recommending to anyone. You should eat on time.
You know what? One thing that I would say is meal prepping has saved my life.
Wow.
It's saved my life. So what I do is I literally just wake up in the morning, and I've figured out the fastest way of making food. So I do eggs and avocado in the morning because eggs take no more than 5 minutes. You just scramble them up, you do them, and then you have a cup of tea with it and an avocado. You don't have to do anything to an avocado. You can just have it as it is. I've figured out a quick breakfast, and then lunch is just fruits for me. I just eat like apples, bananas, oranges, that kind of thing. So I'm just having fruit salads. And then dinner, I just pre-season everything and I just pop it all in the oven. So there's a tip for you. Just plan things that are so quick to have, and then just kind of like food prep as well, dinner. Then that way you don't need to skip food.
I think that is a really good idea, especially when you're going to gym. You don't want to go to gym empty stomach, you have to have something in your tummy so you don't feel too tired. But I feel like, I mean, I guess in the early stage, but any stage in the company, a lot of company will be say, okay, I do this, I do that, but trust me, they don't. It's like you can't keep a balance, but unless you're really good, I mean, I respect those people. But I'm trying to like implement where I wake up at 5 in the morning, go to bed early, 10 p.m., wake up 5 in the morning again, and exactly do what you're telling me to do right now. But have a meal prep so that way I don't have to worry about it. So if I can meal prep in the morning, then I don't have to worry about what I'm going to have afternoon.
But it's so hard, isn't it, to actually create that balance? And I feel like because such passionate people in our field of work, you find that you become so consumed with life and work in general that you can't separate it from your thoughts of your everyday life. So even on the weekend, I find myself I'm working, or like I'm thinking about like, you know, what can I do next, that kind of thing. So yeah, I can fully relate to that. So
I agree. I completely agree.
yeah.
But I feel like, which is why I said I'm workaholic, because
Yeah.
I'm resting, I'm thinking about work.
Yeah.
I am sleeping, I'm thinking about what can I do next,
Yeah.
which is good. But I don't think it's a bad thing, because when you love something, you should be
Absolutely. You
thinking
should be
about it.
passionate about it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I think I would definitely circling back to, I guess, why we're here. You should definitely love what you do. And when people get into tech, right, they have to find the industry, or I guess they have to find the side of tech that they really want to explore and be passionate about, and actually stay up all night for, and not feel like it's torture, for example, because you still want to enjoy what you do. But yeah, so diving into tech, what inspired you to actually get into tech and to start a business that's in AI? Because I know AI is like the big thing right now.
Um, so I would say I've always been a creative person. I love creating stuff, but I have that kind of ability to solve a problem, which I've realized from a very young age that I'm really good at creative side of the world, like solving a problem. Maybe because I'm a lefty, that's another thing, by the way. Apparently, lefties think different from people who use the right hand. So it's just quite interesting. But again, I would say for me, I always knew I wanted to create something that's going to be a legacy, so people will remember it even if I die. And to be honest with you, the AI company is just. I mean, I started my company before AI was a hype, so before ChatGPT even became a
Really?
thing. So I did my master's in AI and computer science, and then I was like studying a bit more about the AI side, data science and stuff. And I kind of like I really enjoy this side of the kind of the techie side about machine learning, and because I think because it was really hard, which made me again want to learn a bit more. So there's a problem, I can't really solve it, but that means I need to study a bit more, and it pushed me to a point where I was like, hey, you know what? I'm actually understanding, and I love it because it's so hard. And I know a lot of people will be like, okay, if it's hard, you just put it away. But no, if it's hard, you need to push yourself and see if you can solve it, because then it pushes you a bit more to work harder. And then I was like, hey, there is a market in the AI industry, but I guess the company was created from understanding. So I was studying about the complexity of computation, complexity theory, and how much electricity AI actually consume. So the Wi-Fi bill is again, so if you're running a large machine, LLM, it take up a huge amount of electricity and carbon footprint, and that's something doesn't get a lot of attention in the tech side, again in the market or even outside, and people don't think about it. But again, you're thinking all these, and I'm thinking, okay, you know what? There are people in the future that's gonna think about it, because they're gonna start using AI, and they are gonna think about how to reduce the cost of this model, because the model get larger with the amount of data you feed into it, and then it get larger and larger, and that means it consume a lot more energy, and it consume a lot more time again. So it's like, how much time are you willing to invest into that? How many people are you willing to employ to do that job? What if you can reduce that and kind of make it more efficient and sustainable and a bit more safe as well? And I was like, hey, there is a market out there and nobody else is tapping into it. Let me go and tap into that market. I mean, it's hard, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's very hard, and it's time consuming mentally, because you have to use the full capacity of your brain to think, and you have to kind of think, okay, outside the box. Again, you have to think, okay, how can I solve this problem, because every day is different. And I guess that's what pushed me again, because I'm thinking, okay, I can solve this, but I just need to use a bit more of my brain, or maybe I need to collaborate with the right people. And I guess me having the open mindset, thinking, okay, I don't know enough, so I need to bring people who know more than me to come in and say, okay, this is what we can do. And that again, talking about creative side, because you want a room full of people and not just one, like you don't want 10 Ellie in a room. I want to have different mindset coming
Yeah.
in and kind of thinking, okay, maybe we can do it a bit differently, maybe we can add this and maybe we can change a bit, and that's what make it more fun. So I would say having that skill set really helped me to actually tap into this industry and be someone who actually know a bit more, but I'm learning every day. Every day is a new day for me.
Nice. So, I mean, for me, I don't really know much about AI, so I want to kind of put myself in the audience shoes as well, because it seems like an industry that's quite scary for a lot of us, even people who are in tech. So, how would you kind of, because you know a bit more than the average person, how would you advise someone to learn more about AI in a way that is quite beneficial to their particular industry? So, say I'm a software tester. How would I be able to learn more about tech and have that improve my career? Because I actually want to be in a sphere where we're improving, we're growing, we're kind of going into the new area of tech, right? Because I want to be included in the new things that's happening with AI. I don't want to be left behind. So how do I kind of upskill myself or even get the right knowledge to be in the right headspace to be part of these kind of projects in the near future?
One thing that people think about, I guess you have to be willing to work for free, I guess, at the early stage to gain experience. So if there is an opportunity, grab it because opportunity doesn't come every now and often. So if it's coming to you, grab it. As a woman, I think that's more important because we don't get enough opportunity in the industry, in the tech industry, especially in the AI is literally male dominated. And I am going to agree with it because I am in this industry. But I would say do a lot of hackathons, even mentoring a hackathon. You're learning from kind of observing what other people doing, taking participant actually participating in the hackathon. Again, you're learning. But bootcamp, you have billions of bootcamp in the Google, and you can just look up free bootcamp. So even doing courses, it literally help you. But one resource that really I love is YouTube, because YouTube have everything explained in a video, and if you're more of a visual type of person and you don't want to read a lot, just go to a YouTube video and look in how other people solving the problem. And again, if you love reading, love then you could do like a lot of reading in the article side, because I love reading books and I love reading journal articles like academic side. So I love to read what other people are working on, what have they came up with the conclusion, or even what other people in the academic side thinking. So another thing I would say, go to event, go to academic event, lecture. So university does lecture which is open to public, so attend those lecture, make notes, collaborate, and talk to the people who are actually kind of doing those lecture as well, and kind of follow back with them on LinkedIn and see what are they posting. And another thing is social media. It's again how you use social media. It could either be scrolling through something that's gonna just feed your brain. It's not gonna be, because otherwise what you could do is you could use the social media in a way to educate yourself. So what you're following on social media. So maybe you need to start following people who are actually making content related to what you want to learn, even on TikTok. So follow the people who actually are kind of creating content in a short, like a bit size, and you can learn from this, because it's easier to learn from actually looking at other people are kind of talking about, and rather than actually you going in, because you might be busy, if you're doing 9 to 5, then you don't have the time to actually go back. You'll be too tired to actually, but what if you could use your free time, 15 minutes, to look at what other people are actually kind of doing in the industry. So it's more of a creating that kind of motivation for yourself as well. So right now, if I go and see someone who might be 10 step ahead of me, I want to know how they have done that. I want to know how they became who they became. So I will be kind of looking into the LinkedIn, social media, or even I'm kind of looking into what kind of post they're kind of posting. So even if they're attending an event, I want to see, okay, I want to attend this event because this person is going to it, and I want to see and I want to meet this person, and kind of, when you talk to people, you learn so much about them. So right now, I could be talking to you and I can learn so much about your industry. So if I want to get into that industry, just by talking to you, it would kind of give me a bit more insight. Whereas if I just keep myself in a shell or in like a box, I wouldn't really know what's going on. So I guess just being open, not just kind of closing yourself or kind of, just kind of separating yourself from other people. Just go out there, talk to people, and be willing to learn. Don't just assume you know everything, because you don't. And that's one thing, I guess, in the industry about tech. You cannot know everything, because every day new tech is coming up, new stuff is coming up. So you have to learn more and more to keep up with it and utilize AI. So even like if there's an AI resource you can use it. kind of. Don't think of it as a way to actually think, okay, it's an AI, I don't want to use it, but what if that AI can actually do a job that you might be kind of procrastinating to do? For example, if you're attending a meeting and that meeting might be something really important, but when you listen into that person, also you have to make notes. But what if you just have an AI assistant attending, and that AI assistant will be making notes where you just focus on that person, you're talking to, so that way you kind of saving yourself time as well. So all this kind of thing is like thinking about what can I do to make it a positive thing, not just negative. But one thing I really believe in is the energy you pull in. So if you surround yourself with negative people, you pull in the negative energy. But if you surround yourself with positive people, like you and me, like business people, you kind of pull in the energy as well, pushes you. So if you want to get into AI, go to a room where there's more people who is doing AI, or go to a room where there are people who are into tech. So I guess all these kind of things is just about what works for you rather than what for me. So you have to find out what is that you need and you want, and use it to your full potential, I guess.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it's really important for us to get into a headspace of understanding how we learn and then putting ourselves out there. And also maybe even some of us who have been in tech for a long time, maybe taking that step back and being like, let me start again from scratch in terms of learning about this new, I guess, era. We're going into a new way of doing things with technology altogether, with software development. It's gonna change the way it looks. So sometimes the things that we have been practicing might not look the same, and we have to be okay with accepting the change, because there has been a lot in history where you see change and then people resist it, and it's those people that resist the change that get left behind, isn't it? Like when the internet came about, or something new came about, like with even the new, I don't know, social media, a lot of people are pushing back on it, and now social media has become such a big thing. Like it's now part of like our day to day, but at the beginning people are like, oh, what's this thing like? But people who leaned into it are now like the big conglomerates of the world, right? The Facebooks and Instagram and things like that. So yeah, I think AI might be quite similar in that sense.
I guess it's more about being proactive
Yeah.
rather than proactive and reactive rather than just staying behind.
Yeah.
It's like I think there's again an aspect of a cultural changes. Like how we think. Because we are like a Gen Z right now, and there are people who are like the new people coming in. They might create new tech, and we might be one of those people. We'll be like, hey, this is techy. I don't want to do it. I don't know enough about it, but I guess. But the people who are actually willing to learn about it and not be afraid, again, like embrace it, like learn about it, and then you decide if it's good for you or not. Like social media, right? People are becoming billionaire on TikTok just by making TikTok content. But if they were afraid of making those content, they would never be in those stages. So it's those kind of things, like new tech, new jobs coming up as well. So I guess it's more about understanding how it's gonna add value to you, rather than you thinking, okay, but like if it's gonna make you happy, go for it, try it, and then say. Again, if you don't try, you don't know. If you don't give it a try, how can you make the judgment that it's not right for you? So I guess it's that kind of thing. But people who stay behind are the one who actually not willing to give it a try. Just go and look into it, study about it.
Yeah.
But it's just the assumption of human, and we all fall into that trap.
Yeah, we do. And I think from what I've seen anyway, and what we've talked about today, like it seems like AI is still very much being learned about. We're still trying to figure out what it's going to look like, and even the jobs, we don't even know what the jobs are going to look like. But I guess from what you're saying, the best way that we can prepare ourselves is to, I guess, learn and put ourselves in the right environments, the right conversations, and anticipate the right, I guess, future moves that's going to happen.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Okay.
Agree with what you just said right now, and just be willing to not accept, I would say willing to learn from different perspective, different opinion, and different people. And that's the best way, because people, at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. You have to remember that it's just a tool created by a human. So the human has more power than the tech. So it just changes the mindset if you think about. But again, what you do with that tool is what kind of it's what actually kind of make the impact. So if you're using the tool for a good causes, here you go, you have actually used it for something that actually add value. But if you're using that tool to create something which is bad, then again you're thinking, but if you're making an assumption and based on what you're just creating bad information, then that's not good. But you just have to think about there's two sides of the coin again.
Yeah.
There's always two sides of everything.
Yeah.
So this is what the way I think, because if there is a bad, there is a good as well, to both sides.
Absolutely.
But because AI is such a new industry, I would say, I wouldn't say it's new, because academic been looking into it for such a long time before even. So AI probably came up in the 90s, 50s, even earlier than then. So
Wow.
back then the academic were looking into it, not the market. So the academic were looking into, for example, you could look at brain emulation, software as a brain. So those kind of thing already been in the academic side in the 1960s. But now you might hear of it because of super intelligent. So you have the supercomputers, then quantum computing, all this coming up. But they all been in the academic, being kind of discussed long time ago. But people are now kind of looking into it because it become a trend now, the AI thing. But again, you think about, like, obviously it's a tech, so tech can go into any direction. You don't know what's gonna happen. We never projected, we're gonna see a new tech coming up. So even like might see like an AI pilot coming up. So it's all this thing, but you think it's really cool, but how does it work? But when you deep dive into it, you realize the theory been there for a long time, but it just the implementation, we didn't have the resource back then. But now we're able to use that resources to create and make the theory come to light, or even give it a try. But tech is expanding and elaborating and actually growing, so anything can happen. But I'm a bit 50-50 in terms of the risk, because we don't know exactly. And the academic, they know stuff, but even the business side, we're just trying to use it and kind of make money out of it. So it's more about understanding and kind of being open to discuss it further and see, okay, there's an opportunity, but what do I need to do? All this kind of thing. Being open as much as you can, and being open to learn as well, really important.
Okay, well, you guys have heard it here. Like, be open, and tech is definitely one of those things that it's just the people who thrive and succeed in tech, I think, are the open people, because things change every day.
100%.
And this is just one of the things that are changing. This is just one of the things that are evolving. But for us to be successful in this new area of tech, which is the biggest hype right now, like you said, it's the trend. It's been around for years, but now it's just people are talking about it more. And I think the new tools that have come out have made it more popular. So all we have to do is be a bit more open, a bit more like willing to invest our time as well into reading into these things, and actually, like you said, get a journal, read into it, and spend time with people who are actually either developing some AI tools or even just working with them firsthand. So I think we can do that. I think that's very doable, and it's not as scary as it could be at first off when you don't know what's going on.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say we need to challenge ourselves as the new. I guess as we're stepping into this era, we need to challenge ourselves to understand it, so that we're not overwhelmed by the change. So yeah, I think I'll do that myself, actually, because I would like to know more about it. But I think the other question I had was, where do you see AI going in the next 5 to 10 years? If you could let us know, like, your thoughts in the most concise way, so that we can kind of have a simplistic view of it. Because sometimes when people start talking about it, it gets very complicated. And I think that's where it gets a bit confusing for people.
So the way I would like it to go is creating more impact. So solving a problem like in the medical field, or even in the engineering side, I would like to see AI doing the job. Like, for example, in radioactive situation where human cannot go in, it's not safe. So I would like to AI to be used in a way so it can protect the human, protect the life. So I would like to see AI being used for good causes. So that's my projection, and I think we are literally seeing that's already happening. For example, in weather, we can now detect if there's going to be a flooding, or if something's going to go wrong. So if the building is right now, it is an earthquake or something, we can project that, with the help of AI, and that's something we never were able to do in the previous years and stuff. And I guess we'll see more of this kind of stuff happening. So we kind of seeing more of like a health issue being detected early stage. So if you have dementia, you can detect that by understanding your data, how you kind of approaching and all that kind of thing. So AI actually has a lot of positive side to it rather than negative side if we use it to good causes. And we are doing it. It's not in the news. I guess it's not trending. I would say. But even robotic, we're kind of looking into doing operation, which is a bit more, you need to have precise, and you can use robotic to do that job. So, it's going to be 100% to 90% accurate, so all that kind of thing. So I'm kind of very optimistic right now with the future, because I think we will be seeing a lot of things happening, which is good, not just bad. But again, it depends on the users and the creators as well. So right now, we're kind of looking at a huge kind of a trend toward the generative side of the AI. A lot of people using chatbots, so there's like, hey, kind of more and more chatbots. But there's more than chatbots out there. So I would say do your
That's good to hear,
research.
because most AI tools, I guess, that people think about is just the chatbots, right?
Exactly.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So it just is more than that, You just have to do
Yeah.
your research and find out. So
Yeah.
even if you're thinking of an idea right now, it might just be you can do that with the help of AI.
Yeah.
But again, in the industry of tech, now you don't have to know coding to actually create a website or an app. You have low code, no code. But before you have to pay someone about 50K or even 20K to make it. But now if you want to start a business, you don't need a co-founder. You can have AI as your co-founder. I mean, you can use AI assistant as well. So if you looking for an assistant but you cannot afford to pay for the assistant, create your own assistant. So it's those kind of things. How are you adapting and using it to your full potential? So you can create things for yourself, but you don't have to know coding. It's just about being more knowledgeable and open. So using your own data set and all that kind of thing. And again, any sector you want to go into, everything is in outside in the internet. Before it wasn't, we're talking about before 2015. People have to actually go to a book to study. Now you don't even have to do that. If you're stuck somewhere, just go to ChatGPT, or even like go to Google Gemini or somewhere, and just look up and stuff. But everything is in internet, but like you don't have to go and kind of find out yourself. And you just have to be willing to actually be willing to study and learn.
And use the tools as well.
Exactly, exactly. And be reasonable about how much you're using it and
Yeah.
why you're using it as well. So if you're playing games are good for people, I would say. I mean, I know there's a lot of like stigma regarding games, but I would say games actually help people to learn a lot of skills that which we're not able to do. But like a programmer, they use gaming skills. It's literally like coding and gaming is like a correlated, I would say. And even if kind of, I guess one thing I really love is the hacker's mindset, like being, when you're a hacker, you're kind of thinking, okay, I have to solve this problem, I have to hack into this computer. So I guess if you have that mentality, then you can learn anything. So it's more about changing your perspective, or having more of a changing into how you see things and being open to learn. Knowledge is power again. So using that power to your full potential and full opportunity. And you don't even have to go to uni. I mean, I guess another thing.
Yeah, I think that's a general thing that we're learning now. Like, you don't necessarily need to have that degree or a degree in that field to be successful. So I want to end on your favorite and best piece of advice that you've ever received, and that you'd like to pass on to either someone getting into tech for the first time, learning about AI, or just in general as a businesswoman, as a CEO. What's your best and favorite advice?
I would say find out who you are by learning who you are. So don't limit yourself, like thinking you don't know enough. Put yourself out there. Just wear the shoe and just go out there and just trial it out. Fail as many times as you can. Don't be afraid and just find out who you are. Just, see what you can do. Because I mean, that's one thing. We limit ourselves to a point. We think, okay, we're not good enough. And that's the mindset we need to change. If you're not good enough, go and learn about it. How else are you going to know if you're good or not? And opportunities is out there, but grab it. Like, be open to go and grab it. But one thing I would say, as a new kind of someone who is actually looking to join tech, opportunity is not going to knock at your door until you go and grab it. Again, same thing, I'm repeating myself because it is true. So you need to go and talk to people, knock at the door and say, okay, this is what I need. Chances are they might, like kind of not see the message, but like see it and then not reply to you. But that's okay. But next time you see that person, try again. But I would say kind of just knocking at doors that you think you need it, rather than being shy. Don't be shy away from opportunity. Go out there, put yourself out there, and just say what you need. Most of the time people will be willing to help you. People will be coming to you and want to help you, and that's the thing. I love helping people, so if someone comes to me right now, I will want to help that person, because I've been in that shoe when I started, at the earliest days, and I know how it feels. So I want to help those people. And I know there are people like me, even better than me, 10%, 100%, who will be willing to help. They might have money, they might have more network and connection. So grab it, go to those people, talk to them. And another thing I would say, your network is your net worth, and that is so true. So who you have in the circle of people you have is literally is gonna kind of tell where you're gonna be in the next 10 years or 5 years. So be careful who you make friends with, who you talk to. Are they actually making you work harder? If not, do you need to find people who are more of like they're already thinking long term, they're already making the things that you want to make. Do you need to go and find those people? Then if you do, find where they are hanging out and go to those places, because that's how you're going to grow. But if you don't get out of your house, if you don't just take yourself out, you're not going to grow as a person. Because if you travel, you realize that there's so much thing happening in the world, but we don't know. Like, just like be willing to actually take yourself away, even if you have to go to somewhere far, far away.
Yeah.
Be willing, just don't limit yourself, because
Yeah.
you can do so many things. You just don't know yet.
I fully agree. I think it's one of those things that when I started to network and I started to meet people who are doing really well in their industry and who are killing it at life, at business, at everything, it really changed the way I viewed myself, and it changed the way I viewed my future as well. Because when you network with people who are like, oh, I started from where you are, it gives you so much confidence. Because it's
Exactly,
like, oh
yes.
wow, if he could do it, or if she could do it, I can do it as well. And just having that kind of friend or colleague, or someone who has even an acquaintance, someone that you can just have a mentor from afar, to just message them and be like, oh, I'm struggling with this.
One more thing I would say, have mentors, have advisors, have as many mentors as you need to.
Yeah.
Because these people are going to push you. It's like, if they're going to keep you accountable about things.
Absolutely.
If you, for example, if you're on your own, you're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be
Exactly.
accountable for what you need to do. So have a mentor, even if that means a friend.
Yeah.
Make that friend a mentor,
exactly.
to keep you accountable.
Yep.
Say, okay, this is what you need to do. Also write down the things you need to do, then it's stick in your brain.
Yeah.
That's how I do.
Even if you have like an
down.
accountability
Exactly.
partner, like my sister is my accountability partner. I'm always like, I'm going to do this, call me out on it if I don't. So she'd be like, how's this going? Or, that kind of thing. Someone to call you out and be like, oh, are you actually doing what you said
yes.
you would do? Because it's human nature, isn't it, to be comfortable, and comfortability does not produce anything good.
Agree, 100%. It's just, we can get, it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, if you want to go further in life, you have
I think it's
to.
a bad thing if you want to be successful. I think if you're
Yes.
comfortable, you're not going anywhere.
I changed my mindset regarding like how I see people who do 9 to 5 and people who do startup. Like, some people, I guess everybody is on a different journey. Like, everyone has a different life to live. I'm not living their life, so they're not living my life. So I don't know what's going on. So they might be just happy doing, the job they're doing.
But comfortability is not a 9 to 5, because you can have a really difficult career that you're building within somebody else's organization. I think anyway. I think it's not necessarily comfortable for you to have a 9 to 5. I think what I mean by comfortability is you're not learning. You're not growing. You're not challenging yourself.
That is
Every
true,
single
that is
day
true.
is just the same as yesterday.
Exactly.
And you don't ever feel a challenge.
Why do you think that might be? I know a lot of people, probably like above 80% of people, are in that
In the comfortable bracket.
Exactly. Why do you think that might be?
I think people like to be comfortable because it's a nice feeling. I hate the feeling of I can't do this. Nobody wants to feel I can't do this. Nobody wants to feel I don't know how to do this. Nobody wants to feel I'm inadequate. I don't think I'm doing the right thing. And that's why people avoid
The
being,
fear of being.
yeah, like you don't want to be uncomfortable. It's human nature to avoid resistance, to avoid something that's going to make your life difficult, right? So, and I think
Exactly,
that's why
yes.
people will stick in their comfort zone. It's like gym, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the gym, you don't go, oh, I love doing all this
That's
like
another
hard
point
stuff.
about consistency, right? I think the thing is, gym, you go one day and you think, oh my God, I'm going to stick to it. But then the next day you're lazy.
Exactly. And it's the same thing in your career. If every single day you don't challenge yourself every day the same way you do in the gym, you're going to go out of shape.
Exactly.
And then when you go out of shape, you find yourself, you've been in the same job for the past, I don't know, God knows how long, but you've not learned anything. And if you were out of job today, you wouldn't be able to get a job the same way. I don't know, you're not marketable in the marketplace because you don't have any new skills, because you didn't grow, you didn't learn more. So I think it's the same thing. Like if you stop challenging yourself career-wise, you get out of shape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I like this discussion.
Yeah,
It's really
it's
good.
interesting because it is true
Yeah.
for half of the population of people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I mean, we just get too comfy, especially when you have everything handed to you,
Absolutely.
like a spoon-fed.
Absolutely. And I think even if you are a business person, you can get comfortable as well.
Exactly.
And you can be like, oh, my business is making, this amount, but you have to ask yourself, am I actually finding it difficult? Am I still challenging myself?
That's a really good
Or
point.
am I just
because
coasting?
I think that's what happened when people get too comfortable, like they're making enough money. I think, okay, that's okay. It's not being challenged enough. And those are the business that goes out of business.
Exactly. No, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Ellie.
I
Thank
really
you so much for
enjoyed.
joining me.
Thank
And
you.
I feel like I do have a few tips on how I'm going to approach researching AI, and also kind of looking at how I can implement it in my career, and also maybe speak to more people about AI and how I can kind of like work with it in testing as well, and what tools or what approaches I can take. And I hope everyone does too, and I hope people do kind of do that research that you've kind of talked about today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Being willing to learn
Yeah.
as much as you can. And that's how you're going to
Absolutely.
grow.
No, that's good. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I hope you found that as interesting as I did, and I'll see you next week with the next guest.